morning. Today we have, as part of our People of PQMD series, Kavita Sood-Isaacs, who is the Manager of Global Community Giving and Engagement at Baxter International. Kavita is one of our newest members of the PQMD team, and we are really excited to have her on board as a board member and as part of our community. So welcome, Kavita. Really excited to have the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. So I want to start with a first question, which is could tell us a little bit about your role at Baxter International and how did you become part of PQMD?
Good morning, EJ. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. So I joined Baxter International in April 2019, about a year and a half ago, and I was really excited to join as this is my first role in corporate responsibility. So as a part of the team on global community relations, I help manage the Baxter International Foundation grant making, employee engagement, our corporate responsibility report writing process, as well as disaster relief grants and our product donations. And I also joined PQMD last fall, and I'm really excited to be a board member. Baxter's been a longstanding member, and I'm also a member of the Guidelines Committee, which has been a really great way for me to get up to speed and learn about all of the processes and quality standards that PQMD has put into place.
That's, wow, that is a big job, and I'm sure it's really an exciting one at this time. Just to sort of go to sort of who you are and where you've come from, I noticed in looking at your CV that you spent a lot of time working in Africa, France, and Spain, and also studied in Quito, Ecuador, which is really exciting. So how did all of that experience shape your career path and bring you to your current role?
Well, yes, EJ, as you've seen, I've always been passionate about international relations and a lover of travel. So I studied Latin American studies and international business. So my first career move was to the Chicago Council on Global Affairs, where I worked in corporate membership. And I think that's the first place that I really saw the intersection between international relations and development and companies' corporate responsibility strategies. And from there, I was kind of hooked. So I spent nearly a decade working in fundraising and corporate partnerships, as you mentioned, in Africa and around the world. Primarily, I started working in global health at the United Nations Foundation, and that's where I got to see the intersection of UNICEF and UNHCR and WHCO working on malaria in sub-Saharan Africa. And after that, I thought I would love to join a company that's working in global health to help make change from the other side of the table.
That has got to be really invaluable experience coming from the UN Foundation and also working with girls' education and community engagement. I saw in Africa and Kenya.
Yeah, no, it was an incredible opportunity. I think I learned so much in terms of the work that Refugee was doing for refugee girls in Nairobi. So there in that program, there was a safe shelter for girls to live in. There was an education program. There was the children's program for young babies and kids that they had as well. And so all of that, it was a holistic model that was in Nairobi run by Refugee. So we were 8 of us headquartered in Chicago with a 50-person staff in Nairobi of all Kenyans. So I was based here, but traveling back and forth, and was hired for corporate partnerships because they didn't have any. They were mostly individual and grassroots donors. So I helped launch our first partnership with the MasterCard Foundation because they invest in social enterprises. And so part of the model was the girls creating handmade scarves using tie-dye and as a revenue generation point. So they went to school, they had an income opportunity as well as the safe house. And so I really loved that model, and MasterCard was investing in that enterprise portion and kind of the business skills and how the young women could kind of figure out how to translate that classroom learning into, okay, how do I take care of myself when I'm integrated into the community? And so the UNHCR Child Protection Program and several partners there were were quite incredible. And then we worked closely with the British Chamber of Commerce in Kenya as well. So the British ambassador to Kenya was a huge advocate for refugee, which was incredible. So he hosted, a roundtable with all business leaders in Kenya for us, where I was able to kind of tell our story and see what types of investments they were interested in making.
Really, that's really good experience to bring to a corporate environment for sure. So PQMD, of course, is about product donations. And so I'm wondering if you can describe Baxter's product donation program, since you have, that's a primary area of your responsibility.
Sure. So product donations is a part of our corporate responsibility strategy overall, and as one of our goals is to increase access to healthcare. So our program is called Manufacture to Donate, and that means that we build into our manufacturing and distribution process the needs of 3 of our humanitarian partners, and that allows them to have our critically needed products pre-positioned throughout the year, both to address emergency and disaster settings, but also to be able to have on hand whenever they need. And we're really proud of that program. And it was in part launched based on the best practices that we've learned at PQMD.
I know you mentioned that you joined PQMD a year and a half ago. And of course, you were familiar to us before you became part of our community, which was really great. So you got to see what you were getting into before you signed on. But so what is your favorite part of being part of the group now that you have sort of had the chance to become an active member of a committee and had opportunity to be at some of our forums and participate in our dialogues and all calls? So what's been your favorite part so far?
Being new to the world of medical product donations, it's just been an incredible learning experience for me, both from the corporate and NGO sides. I think just the wealth of knowledge and experience that's a part of the group is one of the best parts, but just also how welcoming everyone is. And, me being a newbie and just getting my feet wet, everyone was willing to kind of help me as I go and learn. And I think just the network, both from a learning, personal and professional standpoint, but also just the high quality of standard that everyone operates with in product donations is really the best part.
Great. And even though you call yourself a newbie, I would say that your really extensive field experience and your breadth of knowledge of all of the players in the field also bring that expertise to PQMD. So we're really glad to have you. So just back to Baxter a little bit, and this kind of odd time that we're living in with COVID-19 and in what I think is a little bit of forced hibernation, although we're peeking our heads out now, which is great. So how has Baxter adapted to respond to COVID-19, especially in relation to the long-term humanitarian projects that you remain committed to?
Well, EJ, you're right. This is unusual circumstances, but we have been committed both from a product and a foundation standpoint to continuing our long-term commitments. So given, again, the need, as I mentioned, of our critical portfolio, we have been prioritizing our patients, community stakeholders, and customers to ensure that they have our products at hand. We have also still committed to our biannual manufacture to donate process, as our humanitarian partners are just as much as the forefront as we are. And then on the foundation side, we've also committed over $2.3 million in grants to our humanitarian partners globally. As you know, we are a global company with 50,000 employees around the world. So really making sure that we were able to provide support across a regional perspective was important to us during this time.
I think that is happily a trend among many of the companies that we're working with, that they are standing and continuing to be committed to all of the recipients and beneficiaries of their programs and adhering to all of the activities that they had already committed to before COVID came on, and that they're really not breaking with that, but rather adding on considerably to addressing COVID-19, not only in the US, but around the world. So that's really encouraging. And I'm really excited to hear that Baxter is on that same path. Back to you and getting to know you a little bit better. So what are some of your favorite hobbies? What are some of the things that you're liking to do now that you have a bit more time, maybe at home? Or just what do you like to do for fun?
So I am an avid baker. I have a very big sweet tooth and love chocolate. So any type of desserts, I'm always happily baking sweets. And I think the other thing that that I'm passionate about and have been is painting and art. So during COVID, I've picked up oil painting, and it started right before shelter at home. I was taking an oil painting class at the Art Institute here in Chicago, just in the evening. So I was already equipped with all the supplies and paints and canvases, and I thought, you know, let's carry on. So I think that's been a really great stress relief and just a way to channel some of that creative energy while holed up here at home.
That's fantastic. If you ever want to share any of those or let us have a look, that would be really great. I assure you we would be gentle observers, but that would be really fun. And as far as baking is concerned, I think you've been now with PQMD long enough to know that now that you've let the cat out of the bag, there may be some requests coming your way for the next meetings. So that's really great. Anyway, thank you so much, Kavita. I really appreciate your time, and I'm really, in awe of all of the work that you're doing and the experience that you bring, not only to your current role, but also to the community of PQMD. And thank you very, very much, and stay safe.
Thank you, EJ. It's an honor to be a part of this group, and I'm excited to continue to learn and grow with you all.